Gluten Free Cheese Bread. I'm Jamie with Savorysaver. I share gluten-free recipes, tips, tricks, and resources to make your gluten-free lifestyle easier. So let's get to baking. So today's recipe comes from the Red Star Yeast website, and this recipe actually also has bread machine instructions. So if you want to try that method, it will be linked down below in the description for their method for doing it in the bread machine. I am doing it just in the oven today, but I know some of you like bread machine recipes. So I've got 1 3/4 cups of warm water, and the recipe says room temperature, but I'm using instant yeast and not active yeast. So it's sitting at about 120. So I'm gonna add 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. I also like to add my sugar at this point so the yeast has something to feed on. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. Give everything a good mix. I'm gonna put this off to the side for about 5 minutes for the yeast to activate, and we'll mix our dry ingredients. You do need to note that technically you don't have to activate instant yeast in warm water, but I like to do it just to make sure my yeast is active. So let's mix up our dry ingredients while our yeast is proofing. So in a large bowl, I have 2 cups of white rice flour and 1 cup of brown rice flour. I also want to add a 1/4 cup of dried milk powder, a teaspoon of table salt, 3 1/2 teaspoons of xanthan gum. If you are using dry active yeast, you would actually add it at this point and not proof it like I did. So just the instructions are below. So if you want to go back to any of the instructions and follow their recipe and the way they're doing it, by all means, it is down in the description. This bread recipe also has options as far as they give you herbs and spices options. So I'm going to give you all the options, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. The options are a tablespoon of instant minced onion, a tablespoon of poppy seeds, 1 1/2 teaspoons of celery seed, and 1 1/2 teaspoons of dill weed. So I am going to put a little bit in it. Tara has told me she doesn't have an opinion on what she wants in it, so I am changing the amounts a little bit. I'm only going to add 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed. Instead of dried dill, I'm going to add fresh because I actually have some from the garden. So I'm adding about a tablespoon of fresh. The recipe called for 1 1/2 teaspoons of dried. Let's give this a quick mix just to start distributing it. You don't have to mix it fully. I'm just going to start it. That's good. We can't have cheese bread without cheese, so I've got 6 ounces of sharp cheddar that I've actually shredded. I didn't grab the bag stuff this time. I don't know why the bag stuff wouldn't work in here though, guys. If that's what you have at the house, that's what we usually use. All right, let's get this all mixed in. And I think, you know what? Let's use our hands. I don't know that it's gonna mix well with a whisk. All right, everything's blended well together for the dry ingredients. Our yeast is almost ready. And while the yeast finishes, we'll get our wet ingredients started. For this recipe, I am using the stand mixer. It's what's recommended, and it's a 10-minute mix. Another reason why I'm gonna use the stand mixer. So I've got 3 large eggs at room temperature, and I'm just gonna break the yolks up a little bit before I add the other stuff. They're just broken up, just enough to get it started. To the eggs, I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I'm gonna add my yeast, water, and sugar mixture. And I'm gonna turn my mixer on and mix everything together really well. That looks pretty good. All I did was put it on the lowest or the next level up. You know, you don't want it too hot to splash. And just mixed it for about 30 seconds. Now I've got my dry ingredients, and I'm gonna slowly incorporate it into the wet ingredients. And then once that's done, I'm gonna mix it for 10 minutes. So let's start slowly doing that. Once everything is incorporated, we will bump the speed up. All right, guys, everything has been added. It only took a couple seconds. I added it gradually so it didn't go everywhere. Now I'm gonna bump it up to medium, and I'm gonna mix it for 10 minutes. And that being said, I will probably stop it at the 5-minute mark, give it a good stir down at the bottom, make sure I'm getting any other dry flours up from the bottom and everything back into the bowl that's been on the sides, and do the second 5 minutes. Our bread just finished mixing, so that's ready to go, and now we need to get it, of course, it needs to rise. So I've got a 9 by 5 inch bread pan, and I have greased it with shortening. You use the grease or oil of your choice. I like shortening for stuff like this, but by all means, use spray or whatever you want to use. The bread needs to be covered while it rises, so I've got a piece of plastic wrap that will fit over the bread pan loosely. And for this, I am going to use spray for it because I don't want it to stick. So I'm just going to slide this out of the way for a moment. This is what our batter looks like. Everything's been incorporated nicely, and I don't have any dry patches of flour. I did stir it after the first 5 minutes, and it actually looked pretty good at that point. So we got to get this into our pan. So let's get that spread out. Now let's get it spread out to the pan. You don't have to be to the edges, but at least get it pretty even. It'll fill in the corners as it rises. It's in the pan, let's get it covered. I just drape it over the top. I don't want it too tight. Now that the bread's covered, let's get it proofed. Recipe says it'll take about an hour. I proofed mine in the oven. I turned the oven on to the lowest setting before I started getting everything together. Turned it off after about 1.5 minutes. So it's gonna keep it warm, it's draft free. So this will probably rise faster than an hour. It might take 20 minutes, it might take 30 minutes. In any case, once it's where I think it needs to be, so it's risen plenty and starting to go up over the top, I will take it out of the oven and preheat my oven to 375 degrees. So let's get this risen, and then I'll show you what I do with it just before I put it in the oven. I've taken my dough out of the oven where it was proofing because it's been about 30 minutes and I'm starting to crest over the top of the pan. So for the last 15 minutes or so, I'm just gonna let it sit on the counter while I preheat my oven to 375 degrees. Our oven is heated to 375. I'm gonna take off this plastic. No sticking because we greased it down. You can see that it's risen even more since it's been sitting out for the last 15 minutes. Now, I'm gonna take a sharp knife. The directions do not say this, but I want all the steam to escape in one place as it bakes. So I'm gonna take a sharp knife and just run it down the length of the loaf. That'll give the steam someplace to go. I'm gonna bake this for about an hour, longer if it needs it. I'm gonna measure the temperature. I'm looking for 210 degrees Fahrenheit. The recipe says when a toothpick comes out clean, but I have learned through cooking that temperature works better. So I'm gonna bake it until it's done. Then I'm gonna let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes before taking it out of the pan and letting it cool completely before tasting it. It's been an hour, so I'm gonna check the temperature of the bread and see where we're at. About 30 minutes in, I did cover it with foil because it was actually really brown at that point and I didn't want it to burn on the top. But it's nice and golden, but let's actually see if it's cooked through. So I am just at 210 and the thermometer is going up just a little bit more. I should be okay for another few degrees. So I think to be on the safe side, I'm gonna put it in the oven for another 5 minutes, covered with foil, and then take it out. I won't temp it again because I'm pretty sure I'm already at the 210, but that'll just give it another couple minutes to bake. Then I'm gonna take it out, uncover it, let it cool for 10 minutes in the pan before taking it out of the pan and cooling it completely to show you guys how it came out. Our gluten-free cheese bread is done. It's still slightly warm. I probably should let it cool a little bit longer, but it's been cooling for about an hour and a half now. The crumb looks really good. The steam release vent, for lack of a better term, that I did, I don't necessarily know if it was necessary for this one. I don't mind the shape of the bread, but I'm wondering if I'd left it alone, if it would have just kept its high dome. Because you can see it is higher up here and then sunk pretty good in here. But not overly upset with that. I can always try next time to not put the slash in it and see if that helps. It does look just a little starchy down at the bottom, typical of gluten-free breads, but I think it's cooked through from what I can tell, even though it does feel a little warm and it feels a little moist. I know some of you don't like that word. My wife hates that word. But it does look like it is a little bit, which maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that will mean in 2 days on the counter, it'll still be good. So here's a slice of bread. It does bend pretty good. I don't, it's not really tearing yet like gluten-free bread likes to do. I am gonna do a taste test. Normally, I end up tasting the end of the bread because I know Tara's not gonna eat it, and if I don't eat it, then it's just gonna end up as croutons or breadcrumbs. This time, however, I am gonna take an actual piece of bread. I did cut it in half because I like to do half without butter and half with butter because, let's be honest, sometimes butter makes it edible if it's not any good. I did use fresh dill and celery seed in here for a little bit of extra flavor, so you can see the flecks in there, maybe. I can see them on my end. I don't know if you can see them in the camera. So we'll see if that added flavor to it. It tore nicely. So I can taste the celery seed slightly. I'm not really getting a whole lot of the dill that I added, which could be because I used fresh, and fresh isn't as potent as dried is. We used sharp cheddar, but it's very, very mild in the background, but it gives the bread a really good flavor. I do like the way the bread tears. It tears more like white sandwich bread would, traditional sandwich bread. It does seem to have quite a bit of moisture content to it, so I'm not sure what that's gonna do in a couple days of storage or how it's gonna freeze, because hopefully we don't want big ice crystals building up in the bread. So that's definitely worth considering. I always respond to my comments, even if it takes me a day or two. And some of you are good about asking comments when you see this video, whether it be in the next week or the next month. So leave any comments below and I'll be sure to try to answer those to the best of my ability and memory, if it happens to be a little farther out. But if you want to know about how this held up, definitely leave me a comment below. I will try to respond, and for those of you thinking the same thing, check out the comments to see if I already answered that question. Taste-wise, I think it's good. Good texture. I think it would actually be good for a sandwich. Let's try the buttered piece. Have I ever said anything on this channel wasn't better when it had butter on it? Butter just makes it better. But it's not bad without. The crust did get nice and golden. So let's talk real quickly about the baking. I did bake it for an hour. I actually did it for an hour and 5 minutes. I was at 210 at the hour mark, but I did an extra 5 just in case. I don't think it hurt the bread one bit, and I'm kind of thinking I might be able to have gone even 5 minutes longer. The bread was super brown at the 30-minute mark in my oven. I covered it with foil so that it would still cook, or bake rather, but I didn't want it to brown anymore. At that point, 30 minutes more, I kind of think it would have taken on more of a burnt effect on the top. And of course, we don't want burnt bread. So the foil helped with any further browning, but still allowed the bread to bake. Guys, gluten-free cheese bread from the Red Star Yeast website. If you have a bread machine, check down below. The link for the bread machine version is in the description. So if you have a bread machine, by all means, come back and let me know if you made it. Let me know how it worked with your bread machine. I did notice on the recipe, it does say for machines with a gluten-free bread cycle. My bread machine is old enough. It was before gluten-free was on bread machines. So check that out below if you're interested in that version of the recipe. But guys, that's all I've got for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.